Ladies and gentlemen, the action continues here in Frisco, Texas with PFC 27. Our next fight, 3 rounds, this in the super atomweight division, is brought to you by 420 Bait Company. If you want to be at the peak of fishing, use 420 Bait. Introducing to you, first fighting to my left out of the blue corner, she is a mixed martial artist holding a record of 3 wins against 3 defeats. She stands 5 feet 5 inches tall, weighing officially at 108 pounds. Originally from Miles City, Montana, now fighting out of Littleton, Colorado. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the cage, Darla Trademark Harris. And across the PFC steel, her adversary fighting out of the red corner. She's a mixed martial artist holding a record of no wins opposite a single defeat. She stands 5 feet even, weighing officially at already 111 pounds. Fighting out of Fort Worth, Texas. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Amber, the Misfit Terrell.
The fight between Amber, Terrell, and Darla Harris, featured as a free fight in the PF series, delivered a roller coaster of intensity, heart, and sheer determination that had fans glued to their screens from start to finish. This wasn't just a battle of fists and technique, it was a clash of mindsets. A war between 2 athletes driven by different fuels, but the same fire to win. Amber Terrell, known for her crisp striking and calm composure under pressure, came into the bout with a growing reputation for shutting opponents down with surgical precision. On the other side, Darla Harris entered the cage with a brawler's spirit, gritty, fearless, and built to absorb damage and keep coming forward. The moment the first round began, the contrast in their fighting styles was immediately apparent. Terrell took control of the center of the cage, her stance clean, eyes locked in, reading every twitch of Harris's movement. She fired off a probing jab, then another, using it like a tool to measure distance. Harris, in contrast, kept her hands tight and bounced on her toes, looking for the right moment to explode with her trademark power shots. Harris made first bold move with a looping overhand right that barely missed Terrell's chin. The crowd reacted, sensing the bad intentions behind the strike, but Terrell was unmoved. She slipped the punch, pivoted out, and cracked Harris with a counter left hook that landed clean. It was a wake-up call, but it didn't slow Harris down. In fact, it fired her up. She pressed forward, launching a combination of wild hooks that forced Terrell to backpedal briefly. Terrell circled out, creating distance again, and punished Harris with a teep kick to the body that echoed through the arena. Midway through the first round, the pace hit another gear. Harris had one mission: drag Terrell into a dirty fight. She initiated the clinch against the fence, muscling Terrell's shoulders and working short shots to the ribs and thighs. Terrell responded by framing with her forearm and firing knees. Up the middle, it was a battle of physicality and technique. Harris landed a heavy elbow in the clinch that opened a small cut above Terrell's right eyebrow. Blood began to drip, but Terrell didn't blink. When they separated, Terrell returned to her striking roots. She snapped off a jab cross-leg kick, combo that showcased her discipline. Harris responded with a wild left hook that connected flush and briefly stunned Terrell, who clinched up to recover. The round ended with both women landing knees in the clinch, locked in a battle of attrition. As the horn sounded, both corners rushed in, voices urgent as sweat and blood glistened under the arena lights. Round 2 opened with Harris charging forward again, undeterred, hungry to break Terrell's rhythm. But Terrell had adjusted. She began timing Harris's entries with intercepting elbows and stiff counters. Every time Harris swung wide, Terrell punished her down the middle. Still, Harris refused to stop. She absorbed clean shots to close the distance and worked relentlessly. In the clinch, a turning point came 2 minutes into the round when Terrell landed a perfectly placed head kick as Harris dipped in. It wasn't enough to drop her, but it rocked her. Harris wobbled back, blinking, and Terrell sensed the moment. She poured on the pressure, throwing a barrage of straight punches that forced Harris to retreat for the first time. But the brawler in Harris wouldn't quit. She bit down on her mouthpiece, reset her feet, and fired back with a looping right that once again tested Terrell's chin. With just under a minute remaining in the second round, Harris found her mark. With a beautiful level change into a double-leg takedown, she planted Terrell on the mat and began raining down. Terrell scrambled, trying to tie up Harris's.
Such high intensity for these ladies. Ooh! Wow.
Darla is opening up. She is really getting a little loose in there. Starting to find some power shots there. Amber with a nice right hook. The clinch is something. Ooh.
Nice one, too.
missing with that head kick.
Good 1-2 again.
Harris's combinations are just crisp. Yeah, she's deceptively accurate. She slides those kicks and those straights right in between those exchanges. When she's throwing 3, 4, 5 punches and kicks at a time, she does a really good job of moving her head off the center line, albeit slightly. She's not just on a train track, which Amber's a little bit more straightforward when she comes.
Yeah, I think it's easier for Harris to predict Terrell's movement coming forward. Man, that jab, so nice.
You can hear Bedford calling for Amber to push it, saying Darla's a little tired. I have to disagree, though. I don't think Darla's tired. Well, she is just constant with that pressure, walking Amber down.
Posture and stay active from her back. Harris kept pounding with short elbows and hammer fists, trying to steal the round back. The final seconds ticked away as Terrell reversed position and exploded. Back to her feet just before the horn, both fighters returned to their corners bloodied, breathing hard and exhausted. The crowd was on their feet, sensing they were watching something special. In the third and final round, everything was on the line. Both corners yelled with urgency. Terrell's team called for movement and clean boxing. Harris's team begged for pressure and grit. And when the round began, neither fighter took a step back. Terrell came out firing with her sharpest combinations of the night: jab cross, left hook to the body, then a stiff right down the pipe. Harris ate them all and kept coming. She charged into another clinch, driving Terrell back against the cage. The two women battled for position, trading knees, elbows, and shoulder strikes in one of the most grueling sequences of the fight. Then came the moment that defined the bout. With 2 minutes left, Terrell created space with a well-timed elbow and landed a perfectly placed liver shot that visibly stunned Harris. Her body froze for just a second, just long enough for Terrell to follow up with a crushing right hand that sent Harris crashing to the canvas. The crowd erupted. Terrell hesitated only briefly, then pounced. She dropped into Harris's guard and unloaded a flurry of ground and pound. Harris tried to survive, grabbing at Terrell's arms and kicking off the cage, but the shots kept coming. The referee gave the warning, then another, and finally, with just under 90 seconds left in the fight, he waved it off. Amber Terrell by third round TKO. Terrell rose to her feet, emotional but composed, raising her arms as her corner swarmed her. It had been the most physically demanding and emotionally exhausting fight of her career. Harris, dazed but conscious, was helped to her stool by her team. She had left everything in the cage, her toughness unquestioned, her heart on full display. In her post-fight interview, Terrell spoke with both relief and respect. "That was a war," she said. "Darla is the toughest fighter I've ever faced. She just doesn't stop. I had to dig deeper than I ever have before. This fight changed me." Harris, speaking moments later, was as fearless in defeat as she was in battle. "She got me," she admitted. "But I came to fight, and I gave everything I had. That's all I ever promise. Win or lose, I show up." What Amber Terrell versus Darla Harris delivered was more than just a free fight. It was a war of attrition, a battle of wills, and a showcase of what makes this sport so addicting. Technical precision versus raw power, heart versus experience, clean strategy versus relentless pressure. It had all the ingredients of an instant classic. The MMA world took notice. Fans flooded the comments with praise. Fighters reposted clips, and media outlets named it one of the most thrilling fights in PF history. It was proof that greatness isn't always in titles or undefeated records. Sometimes, it's found in the chaos, in the moments when two fighters refuse to break, and in the cage that night, neither woman broke. One walked away with the win. Both walked away with respect.